Have you ever had to let go for the reason of love? That doesn't mean you don't feel the feelings, you don't see the pain, you don't acknowledge where you might have made some really crazy, dumb, not well thought through decisions for the sake of relationship, right? And you come to a place where you no longer have the emotional energy to sustain something that isn't alive, isn't living anymore. I want to talk to you about what it means to help someone else navigate the state of being alone, where you in the relationship have felt very alone. And now you've finally made the step where you're no longer in the same place as that person. And they are coming to you and expressing, this is very lonely. The strength it takes to say, lean into it. Don't run from it. Don't try to fill it. Lean into it. Lean into the hard. Because in the hard is the healing. In the hard is the healing. Example. Maybe a couple has been divorced, or maybe a couple had a person had a spouse die. And afterwards, you start to go through everything that person did in the relationship. Simple things. Take out the trash, walk the dog, grocery shop, bills. All of those extra things that when they were there, you still felt a heaviness on everything you had to deal with. Then once they're not there, you have to lean into the hard every day. Get up. Remember when the trash needs to be taken out. Remember when a certain bill is expected to come out of the account that only one income now pays for. Initially, you might think, it might have been worth just keeping this person around, or maybe I should fill the void quickly so that, of the person I lost, because at least I wouldn't have to carry all this stuff that really seems hard. But what if you leaned into the hard and said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And yes, some nights I might go to bed crying myself to sleep, or not. Maybe I go super numb and I just go through the motions for a while, and all of a sudden it all floods on me and you flood tears like you'd never fled before. And in the past, that would have meant you're out of control to others or even yourself. But guess what? Welcome that flooding, because it's a purge. It's a purge of everything, including mindsets that need to die, that kept you in something too long, that kept you in something that robbed you of your joy on a day-to-day basis, that robbed you from free expression, perhaps. Or a marriage that you thought was fulfilling, or maybe it was fulfilling. And unfortunately, because they passed, now you have to be that for yourself. You have to pull more on stretching yourself to grow to another level, meaning leaning into the hard feelings or the hard realities of maybe what that person filled in your life that you let go for the sake of love. And in some case, maybe it served a well purpose. But now, finding out who you are separate from the other, no matter how that came about, is a journey of leaning into the hard. Because in the hard, you heal. It seems like an oxymoron or counterintuitive. I know. Believe me, I know. But where tears may have been perceived as weak or somehow out of control before, somehow it becomes the salve that begins to show you what you are now recalibrating to be stronger values, or a change in values, or a shift in perspective, because your world has changed around you. And it's no longer maybe in some cases survival mode. In other cases, maybe for the sake of love, dumbing yourself down or taking less of opportunity or over compromising, where you filled your cup and then you emptied it right after. You didn't empty your saucer. You emptied from your core. And you might even find yourself grieving things like you used to paint and you stopped painting when you became involved in this relationship, or you stopped traveling, or you stopped seeking for new excitement out of new challenges because you're someone who likes to solve complicated issues. Instead, you laid down those opportunities that gave you a sense of adrenaline or a sense of purpose. And maybe you even laid down parts of your faith. Maybe you stopped pursuing knowing other aspects of God's character so that you can learn this person's character. At what point does that relationship get put in a position where it shouldn't have been, even if it's someone you truly loved and endeared for years and was your best friend? It doesn't mean it's all bad. But when it comes to leaning into the hard, it causes you to look at things like microscopically, to the point where your narratives begin to support a whole nother belief system that you never really necessarily caught yourself believing before. So I challenge you to do 3 things. Number 1, grieve. It's okay to grieve. And grieve as you grieve, as long as it's not harmful to yourself or others. And as long as it doesn't have you laying down too long, isolating too long. Number 2, don't forget that there is a higher power. For me, God, Holy Spirit, Jesus. That there are aspects of their character you've yet to explore, like an unwrapped gift. Number 3, don't forget the people who are in your life that are valuable to you, that maybe they didn't get as much time with you that they needed. Maybe ask them some hard questions. Come up with 10 questions that you want to know how they saw you in that relationship. The closest ones to you, your inner circle, your intercessors, maybe your children, maybe your parents, maybe your best friends that maybe have not been around as much because you changed. Change isn't bad, but sometimes you have to evaluate the cost in the change to find your joy again. I hope this has been helpful. And this is my morning reflection. Have a great day and lean into the hard, because in the hard, there's healing.